What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Unapologetically Black Male, where we talk about surviving the stigma, standards, and systems. Once again, my name is Dwayne Pate. I'm one half of the host here. My brother EJ Stewart is the co-host. I want to give a shout out to Jay Pope and Associates, who is the kind of supporter, sponsor, or help us kind of launch this effort to continue to promote positivity among African American men. This is just a platform that we want to celebrate our black men, our men of color, so that to help define and help share their version of success for their lives. We have a great guest on today. He goes by the name of Christopher. His government name is Christopher Oliver, but you might know him as Jolly B the Trainer. So I'm going to turn it over to him and let him give a little bit about himself, a little bit about his story, and we're going to jump in with some questions.
So yeah, check. It's your boy Jolly B the Trainer. Yes, I am Baltimore's favorite trainer. I'm just Chris. If you want to just call me Chris, it don't matter. But yeah, man. Country boy. I'm from the country, man. I'm from a small town on the East Mississippi, West Alabama line right there from Pickens County, Alabama, backwoods. I grew up in the country, man. I was raised on a farm or whatnot down there in Alabama, and ultimately I went from living there to now living here in Baltimore. But the road that led me here was, I'm going to say, a real rocky road. And it's funny how you said earlier that, everybody have a different level of success or, what they would consider success to be. But me, I think I found the definition of success that pretty much sums it up for everybody. And I get to that in a few seconds or whatnot. But, background wise, like I said, I grew up in a small town and on the East Mississippi, west side of Alabama. And, the only way to get out of that situation was to find what we would call a significance. And the significance that I found was football. And a little town like what I came from or whatnot, I come from one of those towns where they breed football and everything shut down on a Friday night lights type situation. And at first I was very uninterested because I like baseball, but more so with me liking baseball, I liked to hunt, fish, and sometimes, football practice and games was conflicting with what I liked to do. But the thing was with me, I was split between two different types of friends. And this is where I found myself at an early age. So being from Pickinsville, I had a set of friends that did everything the opposite of what you would think kids are supposed to do. Then on the flip side, at school, I had a set of friends that did everything that you would expect for your kids to go to school and do. So, at home, I had the friends that, chew tobacco, smoke cigarettes, we drink beer, we shoot guns, we ride horses, and we mess with those girls. And then in school, I had another set of friends that were very ambitious, and they wanted to, go to college. They wanted to start families. They wanted to do those type of things. And I was always kind of like stuck in the middle. And I was the merging factor for both of those friends. And it was basically because I found myself, when I found myself in the middle, I always choose to kind of do my own thing. So if I wanted to hang out with the good old boys, I go hang out with them. If I wanted to hang out with this group of friends, I go hang out with them. But that group of friends was more educational, and that group of friends were educational too. But it was in a sense whereas I would ask myself, is this something that I want to do? Is this something that I should be doing? And being in the middle, it kind of set me apart. And now it kind of factors in my life today because I'm still that guy that uses his own mind and, not only just use my mind, I make my own decisions based off of, my thought process and how I feel about a situation. But being from the country and having those two set of friends that ultimately led me to become this person. And man, I ended up going to college, and I played football at Miles College in Birmingham, Alabama. I played there for 4 years. I graduated with a bachelor's in education, and I went back and I got my master's art in teaching. But I mean, I felt like, God had a different plan for me, but still in the field of teaching or educating, but just in a different direction. I got to Baltimore. I came here in 2012. I tried out with the Ravens. It was a good thing. It was beautiful. Then I got injured, so I ultimately ended up going back home, where I got back in school, and you know I went through some hard times in that situation because I was like right there on the cuffs of fulfilling a destiny that I created in my mind that I wanted for myself. But ultimately God shot me down and said, "Hey, look, I want you to take this direction, and I want you to help people in a different way. I want you to reach success. I want you to go pro in life." I'm gonna put it like that. And once I got the opportunity to go pro in life, man, that's when the real challenge started. The real challenge. I mean, I'm talking about that challenge where everything that you've ever learned in your life is challenged. Every thought process, the way I look at my family, um, now versus growing up, or the directions that I took based off of my own thinking ability versus somebody else telling me what they wanted for me, it all changed. And that roller coaster ultimately led me to where I am now. The owner of Energy Transformation Studio in Woodlawn, which is a gym, motivational speaker, and just a community health advocate, for the people of this community. So, man, like I say, it was a long road, and I had a lot of ups and downs and ins and outs, but for the most part, I just continued to press on, ultimately to something happen. So yeah.
What was it like growing up in the west of Alabama on a farm, and how did that translate to who you are today, and what parts are still there today? Because growing up on a farm, I know you up early, hard work. I mean, tell us about it.
Yeah, man. So it's basically the work ethic, man. That something that got instilled in me at an early age. The responsibility, it got instilled in me in an early age. I remember I used to tell this story all the time. So growing up, like before I went to school, I had to feed. So I had to feed the cows and stuff like that. So, a lot of times I would skip school because I would either like get dirty on purpose or I like lose my shoes. So my mom, she had this system where she would go to work about 5 a.m. or whatnot, and the bus didn't come to about, let's see, about like 7:38. And we lived on a dirt road for a long time. Like I'm talking about from the age of like, I'm gonna say about when I was born to about 8, 9, our road was dirt. And sometimes, the bus would get stuck, or if it rained real hard, it couldn't come up the road. So we had to, go to the end of the road and stuff like that. So it was different, man. Being in the city for the last like 8, 9 years versus me growing up in the country, man, that lifestyle, it's just completely different, man. Like you said, we had to work. Like my summers, I could be watching the kids down the road or whatnot. They playing basketball while I was in the hayfield. Or everybody go to school on Friday. On Good Friday, we had to stay home because we had to plant. Because according to the almanac, a lot of people might not know what that is. We planted with the seasons. So it was a lot. It was a lot of work, man. It's just different. It's a whole completely different lifestyle. Yeah.
So tell us, man, how and it's a lot of things you talked about that really sparked my brain already. The duality of having two sets of friends and two different lives and being in the middle, and then then the athlete part. So I'm all over the place. But what was your connection to just say, all right, I'm gonna come to Baltimore to try for the Ravens? Was it somebody on the team, somebody from Alabama that brought you here? Like, how did you get to Baltimore?
So I played arena football. So one day out of college, I did the Senior Bowl or whatnot, and I would pretty much had hung my cleats up. I was pretty much done with all that, the football stuff, and I didn't know what my next move was gonna be. I had a friend, RJ Bibbs. He reached out to me. He was like, "Hey, bro, look, I'm playing arena football for this team called the Knoxville Nighthawks or whatnot," and he told me, and I had like less than like a week to get there. And, after talking to my mom, talking to my auntie, I talked to my grandfather, like that's my counselor. I decided, you know what, give it a shot, just see what it do. Went out there, had a great time, man, like one of the best times of my life. And I didn't really understand the system then. I just went to play football. So, playing or whatnot, he at the end of the season, I met this guy named Braylon Bennett, and he was an agent or whatnot. And he was like, I guarantee you, I can get you a shot, if you follow this step, this step, this step, this step. So I did everything he asked me to do, went to South Carolina and trained at my Uncle Ricky's house. And then when I got the call, I was invited to come up and, do a workout. And that's how I got here. Yep. It was the I want to say spring of 2012. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So you got up here, and what kind of, after you went, I guess you said you got injured, right?
Yeah.
So was that at that point where you was like, all right, I'm just gonna hang it up after the injury, or was it just like you didn't feel like going through the process?
So I tore a bunch of ligaments in my knee, and then off of a cut block, and ultimately I fractured the tip of my tibia. So I had to end up getting a screw and a rod. Mm-hmm. But I had already had a screw from an injury that I got in high school, and it kind of like made that situation a little worse. So when I went home or whatnot, I went to Dr. Was Lee Mack in Tuscaloosa, or Dr. Lee Mack, I think. Yeah. And after I, did all of that with them, I decided that, I didn't really want to play no more. Mm-hmm. So at the time, I met a girl, typical, here in Baltimore, and we did whatever. And I had my daughter. And that ultimately led me to come back to stay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Always does. Always. That's how I got here too.
Yeah, so I came back, man. I had to come back and be a father.
Gotcha. But before we get into like your time here in Maryland and Baltimore, like who were those key like individuals in your life growing up that really, besides your friends, that like really kept your head on straight? I know you mentioned like you said your auntie, your grandfather, mom. Was there anybody else, or were those like the key?
So those people right there are ultimately great influences in my life. Mm-hmm. But the key person would be my uncle. I had an uncle named James Ball, and he clocked out on me, and that kind of like it tore me apart. Because before he passed, me and him was out in the woods. We was out in the woods or whatnot. We were cutting some firewood, and while we was cutting firewood, he was like, "Hey man, I got this." He thought he had gas in his back. Ultimately, like an hour or two later, he went home and had a massive heart attack. And the way that happened, this man like pretty much taught me everything I knew. He hold on one second. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Yeah, so he taught me everything I knew, and he taught me everything I knew, and he was the major influence in my life that gave me that passion to just be a good person. Mm. I mean, he taught me how to work on cars. He taught me how to hunt, how to fish, how to track. how to shoot. You know, he bought me my first shotgun. You know, everywhere. Like I used to be sitting on my porch early in the morning, like 5 o'clock, to see what he up. All I had to do was just hear his dogs, because every time he wake up, the dog get up. So
Yeah.
it was just as a country thing. You feel me? And you know, soon as the rooster crow, I'm shooting down to his house, because I knew that it was gonna be some type of adventure, and that was just the type of person he was. Every day was just an adventure with him. So he was the major key player in my life, that allowed me the opportunity to understand what it meant to be a strong black man. Yeah. I mean, all the other black men in my life were good too. Now, my uncles, they were more on the discipline side. My grandfather, he was like more of a workaholic, but my uncle, he was always available. He was always around, and he was a lumberjack, by trade, and so he could be working in the community, cutting logs or whatnot, or wherever. But no matter where he wasn't where I couldn't find him, or he, like, even as a kid, would always use me to help him do everything. Yeah.
You talked about, you suffered a major injury, man. I mean, I fortunately never had anything with my knees, more so the hamstrings and other things. And I decided just to do away with it. But, in higher education research, they talk about, athletes that play on that level past high school, in the loss of the sport being almost like losing a loved one. And I know for me, I stopped playing my second year, about starting my third year of college. But I was able to immerse myself in that other part of the school that we don't know about, as athletes, because we always working out. I was able to get into the SGA and all of that other kind of stuff. But you were able to go further. How did you take losing the sport you love and playing it on that level? How did you get past that?
I mean, honestly, uh, I I can truly say that I never really got past it. I love football. I can ultimately say that it saved my life in a way where it got me away from the country and the country mindset, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But if you look at the totality of how country people live, or if you look at the totality of the mindset of a country person versus a person that has tapped into the marketplace or whatnot, is a big difference. So when you think about it, I kind of never got past it, but I did lose the love for the game because I wasn't able to play anymore. So what I mean by that is, like, I don't even care to even watch football anymore now, because I'm more interested in fulfilling the next thing, or the next best thing. And I was always taught this: the enemy to your success is the last thing that you were successful in. The greatest enemy to a person's success is the last thing that they were successful in. So by saying that, I mean that if you reached a certain level of success in something, and you continue to praise that success that you reached that level of, life don't stop at that level of success. There is more. And if you stuck on what you did versus looking forward to what you could be doing, then you'll never reach a new level of success, if that makes sense.
Stuck in the glory days almost.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah, that's real, man. Um, so tell us, where does Christopher Oliver become Jolly B the trainer, and
Oh
who,
man.
and what is the difference? Who is who? I mean, because I looked at your IG for a couple of seconds, and even the Royal Farms smack thing had me
Right.
cracking up. So who is Christopher Oliver versus Jolly B the trainer, and where does Jolly B the trainer come from?
So my nickname Jolly. My nickname been Jolly my whole life. There's just one day I was sitting in class or whatnot, and my friend Jarvis Spencer asked me, like, bro, why you so happy all the time? And then from that point on, I guarantee you, man, they just started calling me all kind of crazy names, but Jolly stuck. So, don't ask me where the B come from. I don't know. But I'm Jolly B the trainer. And it just kind of always been there. But Chris, he's that country boy. He's the one that had the majority of the experiences. And who Jolly B the trainer became was that hurt version of Chris that went through some hard times that I decided I don't want to be in this situation anymore. So I want to reinvent myself. So Jolly B the trainer came from a certain level of passion that I grew inside of myself that ultimately came from a situation where I had to basically reinvent myself. I mean, I was in a situation where I became an educator. When I moved back, I started teaching at a school called Silver Oak Academy out in Keymoor, Maryland. And it's like a level 1 detention, all boys private school. And I moved up in the company so fast based off of my level of experience, having a teacher education and then having the background as being like, I guess you could say a leader. I kind of took on a major role in that company within the first 2 years. So I became a assistant a program director, and I met the love of my life while I was doing that, or at that time I thought was the love of my life. Because before then, man, I never, even in college, I never really had a girlfriend. I had women, but I didn't have a girlfriend. I was never committed to anything. So, 26, 27 years old, I decided I wanted to finally make a commitment with no experience. So it's just like you get hired on the job and you ain't got no experience in that whole love thing. Then, man, look, that thing can turn out to be something else. And I just, that's exactly what happened. It turned out to be something else. So I was heartbroken. Then, man, I lost my job. Like I didn't do anything that was negligent to lose my job and whatnot. But it was a situation where I had a bunch of brand new staff that came in, and at those type of jobs, the turnover rate is very, very high due to the level of accountability that's needed from the employees. And without the proper training, well, you could get the proper training, but if you don't have the hands-on experience that come with that type of job, that what they teach you in the classroom could look completely different than what you see actually out there in the field. So, I was on vacation. I came back from vacation that morning. I went to open up the facility. I had a kid that was, basically trying to, cause harm to another student. And he had the student hemmed up. Lo and behold, I walk on the unit. I got people I'd never seen before, brand new staff. And it was one of those situations where they got shell shocked. And I had to really step in. And I was in a situation where I was damned if I do, or either I was damned if I didn't. So I had to do something. I took the choice of, de-arming the kid, getting them off the unit or whatnot. And because it wasn't quote unquote per se protocol where you use two people, hands in a certain place, blah, 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 it was deemed as unsafe. And ultimately, it wasn't the job that let me go. It was the CPS people. They decided that, they didn't want me to work there at the facility anymore. And that's when I realized everything that I had went through in that situation was only preparing me for the next level. I'm telling you, man, if anybody watching this podcast, listening to this podcast, let me tell you something, man. Look, you ain't your situation, you ain't your circumstance. Everything that goes through everything that happens in our life, it happens for a specific educational purpose to help tie you to your purpose that God always supplies everything you need for. And I put it to you like that. And just say I lost my girl, I lost my job, ultimately the situation behind me and my girl, I lost my home. And man, I was just down, out, and I was experiencing things that I've never experienced before. A certain level of anxiety. I was having anxiety attacks and stuff like that. I've never experienced these things before. No family here. It's just me. And I'm gonna say this: on the road, on this journey, I would say is where I really. I'm gonna say I ain't gonna say I found God, because a lot of people say they find God in these situations, but God actually found me. And it rewrote the story of my life, and now my life is going in a completely different direction.
Absolutely.
Oh,
So yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Now I'm saying I applaud you just kind of for just kind of acknowledging that, just kind of realizing that sometimes like everything that happens, it does happen for a reason, and we just got to make sure that every loss is not a loss, it's a lesson per se.
Yeah, for sure. It's educational. I
Yep.
tell everybody all the time, it's an educational experience.
Yep. So
what did you learn from that experience?
Absolutely. I think that's the key thing right there. What did you learn, and how is it going to help you grow into your next, and just kind of push you to your next? So I know you mentioned that. I know you mentioned that as far as like it kind of helped push you to your next. What was your next after like going through that situation?
So the next thing I did after going through that situation was, like I said, God found me on that journey.
Mm-hmm.
And once he found me, he needed me to go into this incubation period where that I could actually become the strength to my own light.
Mm-hmm.
And learn about myself. And it required me to separate from a lot of things. It required me to separate from a lot of people. It required me to harness myself and put myself on a certain level of disciplines. And on these certain level of disciplines, one that really took me to the next level was the understanding of the manual. And what I mean by the understanding of the manual is I finally opened up the Bible in a way in which I could read it for myself and study it for myself. And then I realized on this journey that the Bible was nothing like what I had been taught my whole life. I actually read the Bible, the Quran, and the scripts. I read everything. Even to this day, I still read about 2 books a week. So once I started getting that education and started to understand, then a lot of things that I didn't understand, I started to understand. And then I understood that it wasn't for everybody to understand, because it's given to you to understand the knowledge, to the secrets, to the kingdom of God. And once I started to understand those things, then the weight of the world just came off my shoulders.
Yeah. I was going a little bit in the lanes of what D was saying, that this show we meet so many brothers, man, from so many places with so many similar stories, so many times in our lives, and it always makes me reflect and think of those hard seasons and the seasons that are still hard, and just shout out to you for surviving the system that you were in that place. Soon as you started telling your story, I immediately knew what was going on, because I've seen it and I've been around it. So I definitely understand from a firsthand experience. And you survived. You didn't allow that system to crumble you. So if no one told you, I appreciate and applaud you for being that survivor.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, man. But the thing is what I tell people, man. For everything in life, like you said, is a season. But just because you come out of that season, that rough season, and you go into a new season, it is the preparation for the next season that matters. And that was the biggest lesson that I've learned out of all the things that I've been through, was ultimately always keep in mind that the next season is still coming. And it's supposed to not be easier. It's supposed to just be a little bit more it's supposed to be just a little bit more bearable. I'll put it like that. It's just a little bit more bearable. Like I tell people, in the summertime, we know that it's hot, but we're not gonna throw away our winter clothes because it's summer. What we do, what we learn to do as adults, we learn that actually winter clothes are cheaper in the summer. So you have to prepare for the winter in the summer. And like I said, anybody that's listening to this podcast, if you're going through a season right now, okay, if it's a good season, you need to be preparing for the worst, but expect the best. If it's a bad season, you need to be preparing for the best and always hope for the best, because at the end of the day, this thing is so interchangeable. That life is so, it has so many ups and downs that all it takes, honestly, is just a little preparation and a little faith. Then, anything is possible. Anything.
Absolutely. So definitely 100% agree with you that, we just got to make sure that we prepare for any and everything. And
Right.
as we learn that, we're learning to be a better version of ourselves, not only for our now, but for our next. And I think that's a very pivotal point that we need to make sure that we highlight, especially for us as African-American men, because oftentimes we don't like to share like those struggle seasons, those times where we're going down because of the pride and the, just kind of being, I can handle this by myself. When in actuality, there are people put in your corner to help alleviate some of the stress that you have. But
Right.
You just got to reach out to them. You just got to make sure that you land on your support system. So I definitely appreciate all that you have, instilled in us and gave us today with your message and your story, because it's definitely a powerful story and one that definitely needs to be heard in reference to, how you got to where you are right now.
Right.
And so tell us, and leave the people with this information. What are you doing? Currently, the ventures that you got going on currently, how they can find you. Just what you got going on and going forward. And we're definitely gonna get to the sweatshirt. Don't think you're gonna get past that part. But
Right.
yeah,
So
let us
basically
know.
right now, I'm actually working on franchising. So I have, like I say, I have a studio gym, but I currently just invested into a 32,000 square feet space that we're actually about to bring to the Baltimore area, which is a total wellness center. That's a gym, and it has an integrated health system that's going to be immersed on the inside, something like a cafeteria on the inside. We're going to have like some meditation rooms. We're going to have some classes, some massages, spa type situations. So basically, I'm building a tier 5 gym right now that's integrated with an integrated health system, and I'm planning on launching the first one this year in October, and we're gonna be stringing them along up and down the East Coast. That's our first goal for the first 6 years, is to just franchise in that area. In October, I think when I'm going to release the book, I got a book called Post Workout, Understanding Your Purpose Through the Power of Self-Reflection. And that book is pretty much basically my story all summed up in one. And also it's informational to help others that may be going through some of the same things to overcome those things. Because I feel like once you made it to the other side of a situation, then you become significant. And when you hold on to your significance in life, you basically are living selfishly purposeful. And if you are living selfishly purposeful, that means that you're missing out on the opportunity to help somebody that needs that information that you have ultimately did the work or put in the work for to obtain, to help them ultimately get to the other side just like you. And I think it's our due diligence as brothers, to make sure that we touch as many lives as possible while we living. You know, while we're in this time, because that's when I found out the due diligence of God being a generational God. Your purpose in life is not for you. Your purpose is in fact for other people. And your purpose is not
Mm-hmm.
only for other people, it's for the people that exist in this generation. And if you think about all of the people that came here and found their significance, what if they held on to their significance? Would we be able to evolve as humans and do some of the things that we're doing now? You know, if I just say Stephen Jobs or somebody like that, if he held on to his significance, would we be able to have all these Apple products? You know, you gotta
Mm-hmm.
understand that your significance is for your generation, and if you go through something in life and then you don't grow past those situations and you need those directions, that guidance from people that already did it, it's our due diligence to help other people do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that the book is going to be powerful, and I think it's going to definitely impact many lives. Just kind of sharing your story, like
Right.
just mentioned before, and the whole the wellness center. I like that. I don't really I don't really think that we had. Do we have anything like that in our area? Not to my
We
knowledge.
we we don't have anything like that in this area. The closest thing to it would be a Lifetime, but we're completely different from that concept because our concept has an integrative health system where people come into the gym and they have a full-time dietitian. They have a
Mm,
full-time. I think we're gonna have chirotherapy. We're gonna have some IV therapy. We're gonna have some gut health therapy to help people lose the bloat because a lot of people are suffering from bloat disorders from stress and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
And we're just gonna take it to another level when it comes to health and fitness. And it's pretty much what that I've discovered while I was born. And there's a worthy idea that I'm pursuing, and it's bigger than myself. You
Mm.
know, so that's what we aim to do. You know, in
That's
that
dope.
light.
That's
Yeah.
definitely dope. And do you have an idea? I mean, is it too soon or too? Well, you said October, so I mean, are we jumping the gun and asking what part of town it might be in, or we we
So we're
we
gonna
got
be
to be
low.
stay
Yeah,
tuned, or
yeah. I mean, you can stay tuned, but we selected a location in the Woodlawn area. We want to service this community, because of the potential, of the community over here, man. In the Woodlawn area, you know, it's basically a food desert,
Mm.
and a lot of people are forced to eat a certain type of way. And a lot of people over here, where this community is actually growing because we got several like housing places are being built in the area.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of like apartment complexes and stuff like that. So what we decided was we was gonna start our first one here in the Woodland area on Rolling Road. Yeah.
Awesome. So definitely looking forward to that, and looking for more information about
Mhm.
that. And then whenever you decide to release the book, I know you said I think it's maybe this fall, right?
I think I'm gonna kind of do like a grand opening / book release type situation because I finished the book last year. Actually, I finished it last year.
Mm,
Got it published and I got it copywritten, but I just haven't released it to the public because basically the story is a continuation. And
mm,
like I say, even though I've overcome some things, it's some things that I'm still overcoming. But I've found a, I've found out the power um, that I possess, and I'm basically, I guess you could say, I'm using myself as the placebo.
mm-hmm,
I'm using myself as the as the as the as the person that says, "Hey, I got this vision.
mm-hmm.
We don't know how we're gonna make it happen, but we're gonna make it happen. Stay tuned." And it's
Gotcha.
kind of just happening. I actually fly out to Alabama to meet with the company that we're integrating with. I fly out and meet with them on the 22nd, and they kind of just reached out to me out of the blue. So, like I said, I didn't find God. God kind of found me, and I understood that, your elevation is where you kind of meet God at. That's where you meet him at. You meet him in the journey. And if you don't take the journey, then you avoid that initial meet where you learn that everything that you want to do in life, everything that you try to do in life, everything you need to do that, you already possess it right here in the mind. And my definition of success that I think could possibly be universal to all things in life is this. I think that, everybody do have their own version of what success is to them. But I think universally, success is the potential destiny of a created thing. I think that success is the potential destiny of a created thing. When a thing finds its significance and it reaches its destination, then that thing is successful. And I think that if we look at life, like I just say, like a FedEx package, I'm going to say this, you look at life like a product. You manufacture this product, right? You test this product. You do some reviews on the product. Once the product is created and it reaches its destination, once it goes from the manufacturer to your front door and it make it, that thing is a success. I just really feel like success is the potential destiny of all created things. When a tree reaches its full ability to grow until it can't grow no more, it's a success. And people, we are all, in my eyes, successful already. And once you came from your mother to earth, you was already a success. I just really feel that we all are successful. We just have to kind of find out why the manufacturer created us. And once you realize why he created us, then I don't think that you become successful. I think you become useful, and resourceful. I'm gonna say this. If you look at it like this, if you cut an apple open in half, what's inside of an apple?
The seed.
Or seeds.
Seeds. What's inside of the seed?
The beginning of something new and exciting. But it has
more
to be
apples, more trees, with more seeds, with more apples, with more seeds and more trees. And if we all looked at our life that way, if we all looked at life in that manner in which we all come from a seed, then we'll realize that no matter what we go through in life, you are here. You're here. And that makes you a success.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Man, we want to thank you for just kind of sharing your life story, just kind of, the little nuggets of wisdom that you've been imparting, not only for us, but for those who are hear this and listen to this episode, listen to this podcast. So once again, thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I know you have a busy schedule. So we definitely want to appreciate you for taking time out of your schedule and then, and just consenting to do this interview for us. And EJ, I know you had a party question.
So they can't see, but you got the Stop the Meat sweatshirt. Is this Jolly B Stop the Meat watching? Is this Jolly B apparel? What is this about?
Nah, it's one of my trainers that work at the gym. It's his apparel. So I support all the people that work there, and he showed me, and I felt just like you felt. So I was just like interested. So it kind of being in the gym all the time, it's like why not? Give me that. Right. So he gave it to me. He gifted it to me, and I'm very appreciative of the guys that work there and make everything flow the way it do.
All right,
Yeah.
we gonna have to get his information, or hopefully you post it on the page or something, man. Because I'm
Right.
gonna have to get one of those.
Absolutely, and definitely we're gonna definitely gonna post the information about the gym that you currently do your training out of, and just continue to promote your whatever that you have going on. So definitely when you're releasing the information, feel free, reach back out. We want to be there to support.
Yeah, we got a fitness. I'm doing Baltimore's first urban fitness expo.
Okay.
Mainly for our community, April the 16th. At 10 a.m. On 1100 East Fayette Street at the Under Armour building, the Carmelo Center.
Okay.
So it'll be the first urban fitness expo in this area. It's just something new. We're just gonna bring a little culture and surround it. We're gonna bring our culture and surround it with a positive message about health and fitness, allowing people to get free testing, giving people access to trainers from all around the DMV. We even got a couple of people that are coming from like Kentucky and other places and stuff like that that's coming out to speak about, the importance of, taking care of the body and taking care of yourself, as we, fight these agents that are plaguing our community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, man, thank you. We'll definitely make sure we promote that information. I think that's going to be powerful in itself. Just kind of promoting a healthy living for our community, because we know we need it. With all the fast food joints that we have surrounding, it's easy to kind of fall into eating bad. So we want to make sure we can continue to promote health and wellness. So, man, once again, thank you, Chris, for coming and joining us today. We want to just let you know that we appreciate you, and thank you for joining us on this podcast. EJ, you got anything? You good?
No, man, definitely inspirational, and I always take away something from everyone we talk to. So tonight is no different. So definitely appreciative, man, for sure.
Right.
Absolutely. So once again, thank you all for joining us for Unapologetically Black Male, where we talk about surviving the stigma, standards, and systems. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this, follow us on all social media outlets. Let's make sure that we continue to promote this message of positivity for African American men, so that we can continue to walk in our purpose, walk in our own definition of success, and making sure that we are continue to operate in the way that we should in this world. So once again, thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.